good evening and welcome everybody. I need to welcome everybody to another wonderful session, another wonderful masterclass, which forms part of the SADC Innovation and Investment Challenge. And again, we bring you one of these sessions once a month. This time, because it's Global Entrepreneurship Month, we're doing two. So this is the first of two sessions that we're hosting. And this evening, we're incredibly privileged and lucky to have the Group CEO of Hyber Group, Mr. Charles Oje. I will introduce Charles in a moment as we move forward. But what I wanted to do quickly is to remind you on a few things that are happening today, the 19th of November. So the 19th of November is Global Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So we really celebrate all the women who are really pushing the envelope, changing the narrative and building on some amazing new initiatives and building your companies. And again, we're very lucky in the SADC IC to have one of those women, Daniela from Pema Agri, also part of our program. But also knowing that today I spent an amazing day, so a big shout out to the women from AWARE, the African Women's Entrepreneurship Program. Wonderful to have met all the wonderful ladies that are working with us in this program with AWIF. Also, a big shout out to the women in Nigeria who are working on our green energy program that we also got to spend some time with earlier this afternoon. So, big celebration for women. Shout out to the We Are Eagles network of women that we support. Really excited about the amazing story. So do check out the Hyber Twitter account to see the work that we're doing in this space. So again, if you don't know where you are and what you're doing here, we are here as part of the SADC Innovation and Investment Challenge. And this is all possible because Hyber Group has a wonderful collaboration and partner. Again, this program is initiated by Finmark Trust. And again, I have the pleasure once again to welcome Dumisani Dube, who we affectionately call as Dumi, to join me in the studio to kind of do a quick, brief welcome and acknowledgement of yet another session. And this time we're doing two. Dumi, this day has come. I told you guys, November is going to be full of activity and full of fun things. So good to see you, my brother. Welcome, Dumi.
Thanks, Vu. Thanks so much. Really excited to have our third session. I mean, I think if anyone has not watched the first two, I would really say, you know what, this is amazing. It's something you should follow as an entrepreneur. So I think I'm really looking forward to this session with Charles today. And I really believe that we're really going to get some great value out of him, including the experience he actually has. And yeah, I mean, I think what's also exciting is it's a great week. It's Global Entrepreneurship Week. And I think it's great that as Finmark Trust, we are closely working with amazing entrepreneurs. And our focus really is to make sure that we identify, the solution that will have impact on their livelihoods. Because at the end of the day, it's about changing the lives of people out there. Looking back into our countries, whether this is Botswana, it's Tanzania, any country in SADC, people are having better lives and being able to earn an income or get access to services that ordinarily they were not able to get. And all this is made possible because of these amazing entrepreneurs that we have that are innovative and that have a vision for a better future for our region. So yeah, thanks so much. Really looking forward to the session. And yeah, you're going to spoil us this month with two more, with another session on top of this. So thanks, Vu, for arranging this.
Pleasure. To me, I mean, you guys have been so amazing as a collaborator and a partner. So again, thanks to you and the Finmark Trust team for trusting us to curate this amazing initiative. And again, these companies are definitely not the same. We are now, some 70 days after the fact. We've gone through 73 days of the program, and it's been the most incredible whirlwind of acceleration and change and shift in some of these ventures. And again, really look forward to the rest of the program. And again, everyone who's joining us today, please save the date for next week. We have another exciting Thursday session to talk more about how you can grow and accelerate your business. So, and everybody joining us across the continent, welcome, welcome, absolutely welcome. And do check out the Finmark Trust YouTube channel for more of these videos. Just check out previous sessions that we've had. Also, follow the work that the SADC Innovation and Investment Challenge is bringing out. It's sadcinnovation.org, and then you can check out all the information on there. But also, you're welcome to join our SADC IC community. The details are on screen now. You should be able to see them. All right. Thank you so much, Jimmy. And let's see what Charles has got to say to all of us.
Thank you.
So, pleasure. We all have come through some kind of form, shape of lockdown all across the continent. And again, this particular period is no different to what we all have been experiencing. And of late and recently, even the job numbers in South Africa, for example, have shown an uptick, as we know that the pandemic has had a very big impact on how we respond to not only the economic challenges, but as well as the healthcare challenges that are posed with us. This evening, we are joined by my business partner and my brother and my friend, Mr. Charles Ojay, who's joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, where he's been stuck and quarantined. Charles typically spends his time between Vienna and Lagos. This time he's in Lagos for the past few months. I personally met Charles, give or take, we're going on 3 years now. So in Nairobi. So a South African and Nigerian meet in Nairobi. So you can imagine the rest of that story, and the rest is history. And, you know, it's been nothing but, you know, the most incredible pleasure getting to know Charles. His background is extensive. It's focused predominantly, built his career across multiple multinational corporations. Again, most of that career built in Nigeria, leading teams in Lagos for companies like Procter & Gamble, for companies like General Electric, where he was part of the healthcare solutions team there, for companies like DuPont, again, working in the chemical space. And his last assignment was with a very little known company from South Korea called Samsung, where he led the enterprise business solutions team there. And again, recognized as one of the top sales managers globally for Samsung as well. So, you know, again, I'm looking forward to, it's always good to hear Charles. He loves sharing knowledge. He loves delivering his thoughts. And this masterclass is going to be focusing his attention on leadership, and he's going to be talking and focusing his attention on leading for high performance. Dirkie, I want to see Charles's face before we let him go. So, Charlie, good evening and welcome, my brother. It's good to have you. I know normally we'd be together in Cape Town for our annual kind of Cape Town kind of period. So, yeah, we're now stuck in this place. But I'm looking forward to being back in Lagos soon, or you know, even if you have to. Europe is actually out because nobody wants to be in Europe at all at this time. With where COVID is going. We're much better off here in South Africa or in Africa in general. But so excited to have you on the call. I know this is one of the first opportunities you have to deliver in masterclass. And again, I can't wait for the ventures to really receive your lessons and receive knowledge from you. So do stay tuned. For the viewers tuning in to this particular session, either through YouTube or Facebook, you are able to interact. So this is not only a passive participation for you. We are watching out for your comments as well as your inputs and your questions. So throughout the call, Charles is going to be able to see your comments. So if you are joining the channel, either on the YouTube channel with Finmark Trust, or you're joining on the Facebook channel with the Hyper Group, or even the Hyper YouTube channel, you are able to use the live chat comment sessions there to make your comments. Later on in the session, we're going to be meeting again our wonderful ventures that have been part of the SADC Innovation Challenge. And again, they will get the opportunity to interact and engage Charles around some of their leadership challenges and some of the feedback that they would have received from Charles around his thoughts around how you lead through high performance. Charlie, without further ado, I want to hand over to you. I know, Dirkie, there's a presentation, but as you kind of open up and share your thoughts and Dirkie loads up your presentation, How are things going in Nigeria?
Well, things are stabilizing. I mean, we've had the youths come out to lead, so that in itself was an experience, and we really want to applaud all the different young people who came out. Unfortunately, it was eventually hijacked, and we saw some instances, but we know that things are stabilizing again, and getting back on track. So we are all fine and well. Yes.
And I know that the team in Lagos, in Nigeria, is doing a lot to support youth development with a recently completed LIFT program that again is going to be ongoing. That partnership with our partner in Lagos, there, Softcom. So really excited to be part of the solution again to kind of grow and build high growth, high value companies on the continent. So over to you, Charles, and take us through.
Thanks a lot, Fu. Thanks, everyone. And again, welcome to this very special, beautiful live broadcast as we look at leadership. And, myself and Vu were talking about this session a couple of weeks back. And when we were, really pondering about, what to say and what to do, the word leadership kept coming up. And when I reflect back at my 20 years of professional experience, one of the things I'm very, very excited and grateful for is being given the opportunity to learn about leadership. And I've looked at it even as a skill set, and I've realized that this probably is one of the most important skill sets you can ever have as an entrepreneur, the ability to really lead. And today I want to talk about leading for high performance. And I'm putting in front of you this very interesting visual, and you'll know pretty soon why I'm doing it. But this visual is a visual of an orchestra, and an orchestra kind of like reminds me a lot about an enterprise, where you have different people participating, including the crowd. Everybody is participating. And as we move to the next slide, I want to ask you a question: Who do you think is leading this orchestra? Who is leading this orchestra? Is it that conductor guy, with this, stick or what you call it, trying to conduct, or is it one of the two guys in front, behind him, in front of the orchestra, playing the big violins? And I'll leave you to ponder on that, in terms of who really is the leader. And when we look at our society today and all the drama that is taking place in different countries, in the continent, in businesses, in organizations, it's always interesting to ask who is leading. Who is leading? Is it by virtue of position? Is it the person who is second in command? Is it the follower? Who really is leading? And as we go through today's course, we're going to go deep into the essence of leadership. But most especially, I'm going to give you a set of tools and a set of insights and tips to help you improve your personal leadership. And irrespective of the circumstance or the situation or the stage of your enterprise, it doesn't really matter. You can lead from wherever you are. All right, let's look at the next slide and a little snapshot about what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about, things like, why is leadership important? Why is leadership important? And then we're going to also look at, what is leadership and how we can define what leadership is, and what does leadership in itself mean to you, and then how we can lead. And I'll introduce a very interesting model I've been using since 2002 when I had my first job. It's called the 5E leadership model, and I'm going to share with you this interesting, very simple framework that you can use to apply, into your own day-to-day life as you run your business. All right, good. Let's move on now, and let's kick off with our very first section in the next slide. And let me start off with this very interesting quote, all right, from someone we refer to as the father of management, called Peter Drucker, late Peter Drucker, God bless his soul. He said something very interesting, and he said, effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. Sounds like politics. Leadership is defined by results and not attributes. This is a very interesting quote from Peter Drucker, and we're going to talk about this quote as we go along, and you realize that it really gives us the theme for our talk today: results, and that's really what this is about, and what leadership at the end of the day tends to produce. It tends to produce results. All right, let's look at our next slide, and let's kick off now into this very, very important aspect of leadership. And let's start with the why. Why is leadership important? And please feel free to post on the chat room your comments if you have any. And I might look at them and also even throw some comments as well in response. All right, this is a very interactive session, and comments are welcome. Let me show you a very interesting video just to kick off. Why leadership is important. And we're going to nature, and we're going to some very basic creatures in nature called ants. And as we play this video, I want you to really watch and reflect on the video. And come to a realization of why leadership is important. You can play the video now, Doug. Wow, that was very interesting. Every time I look at that video, it kind of like reminds me about the journey. You know, even as a leader and working with teams, and I'm curious to get your thoughts also about what that story tells you. You know, and things around like, you know, what the leader was doing, what you liked and what you didn't like. And even as I reflect on it, I see at every point in time, you know, the ANT leader was trying to get the team to a new stage, you know, get them to a new phase, get them to safety, move them from point A to point B. And many times that's what we're trying to do as leaders. We're trying to get our teams, trying to get our followers to a new place. And it's normally a journey. And leadership is really important because that destination needs to be defined, and people need to get to that destination. Let's look at the next slide now, and you know, flesh out some more. I have another video for you. Sorry, I tend to use videos to convey my thoughts. This one is very interesting. It's actually a real life story. This is the movie trailer of Everest. Everest was a case study put together by Harvard Business Review, and it was a true life story that happened a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it was a tragedy, but full of so many lessons. I'm gonna just attempt to play this trailer, which is I think about 2 minutes, just to give you a feel of this of the leadership journey, because in many cases, even when you look at entrepreneurship, sometimes it's a dangerous journey. And if we don't have the right leaders, you know, sometimes it could be full of disaster. All right, let's take a look at this very short trailer, and then I will begin to pick out some points from them. Dirk, you can play the video.
You, my friends, are following in the very footsteps of history, something beyond the power of words to describe. Human beings simply aren't built to function at the cruising altitude of a 747. Our bodies will literally die. Human beings simply aren't built. Another beast altogether.
How you doing? I'm back.
Doug Hansen.
What do you do when you're not climbing, Doug?
I deliver the mail.
First mailman on Everest?
Hope so.
I like that.
Sit down, man. Climatize.
How's the weather?
It's good.
I wish I was with you.
One day, you, me, and that little Sarah will all go climbing together.
So today's the day, huh?
It hurts. It's dangerous. Why? I have kids. They see a regular guy can follow impossible dreams. Maybe they'll do the same.
I'm on the top of Everest, Helen. We made it.
Go to Rob. There is a massive storm headed your way.
Oh no.
Come on! Get up! That's the wrong way! Doug, let's go! Hurry up!
Rob, can you hear me? You've got to get moving. You've got to come on down.
There's no oxygen. You go. I'm down. No, I'm not leaving you behind. Come on. It's gonna take all we got. We're all getting down together. Now let's go.
If anyone can make it, you can.
This film, and I would encourage you to watch it, Everest, which again is a true life story, reminds me of a lot of things as we look at the entrepreneurial journey. And whatever your vision, whatever your mission is, it can be classified as Everest. It's something big, it's something bold, it's something out there. But the path to this destination, the path to this Everest, the path to this vision or mission is filled with uncertainties. And let me even use this present day. I'm sure by this time last year, you were busy, strategizing with your team. You were writing, putting all kinds of plans together, how great 2020 was going to be. And then February 2020, COVID hit. Nobody saw this coming. This storm just, hit the fan. And, many people are yet to survive from this wind that came. And when I look at this video, it only just keeps telling me about why leadership is so important, because we need to figure out ways of navigating all these uncertainties that are coming, coming at us for the good, for the bad, or for the ugly. And as I go into the next slide, when we don't lead very well, when we lead poorly, something eventually dies. Either our people are leaving, whether customer relationships are evaporating, whether our revenue is not growing the way we want it to grow, or it completely depletes, whether the morale of the team is reduced, or even our own personal growth is hindered as a result of leadership not moving in the way it's supposed to move. And when you look at the right hand of the screen, there's a very interesting research and statistic. 75% of people leave their job not because of the company itself, but because of their bosses. So they join a company, but they quit. They quit their bosses. So these are sometimes some of the consequences of when leadership is not at the level at which it should be. And I'm hoping that with this session, we are able to kind of like see how we can better lead in our own lives, in our enterprises, so that we can unlock that vision and get to the Everest. Whatever you define your Everest to be, that we can get to that Everest and receive the fulfillment and satisfaction that we seek. All right, let's look at the next slide now. All right, and having said that about leadership, we have so many examples of role models, and I want to even ask you, who is your role model leader? We have so many role models, on leadership, whether it's Nelson Mandela from South Africa, whether it's Aliko Dangote from Nigeria, even Michael Jackson being a musician. They are leading in their own space, in their own situations, in their own time. And my question to you is why, who is your role model, and why is that person a role model leader, for you? And it's interesting for you to kind of like also reflect on that, because there might be some signs around, why leadership is important, but most especially what leadership really is. My next slide is very cartoonic, so please pardon me. I love cartoons. Obelix, reminds me of, and he has his own superpowers as well, just throwing a little sense of humor. Now let's go into the definition. What is leadership? What is leadership? All right, let's look at the next slide. And here's a curation and summation of different people, all the way from Australia, different people talking about what they think leadership is, because we would like to really define it. What really is this thing called leadership? So let's look at the next slide and listen and watch this video as we hear different types of people talking about what leadership means to them. And I'm curious to get your thoughts in terms of what leadership is. All right, good. Let's play the video.
So come up to that marker. So I look straight down the barrel.
You ready to go?
All right, well, let's start. When you think about leadership, what comes to your mind?
It's a good question.
Leading?
A few different words, actually. Probably responsibility, integrity, vision.
Someone that you aspire to want to be like.
We often have this idea that leaders are the people who are just like dictators, and they want to stop us from doing things and make us, force us, put us into place, and make us be robots.
Well, for me, leadership doesn't come from above. It comes from energies that are pushing you up.
Inspire confidence in someone to get something done.
It's not just about you. It's about them, the team.
Bottom line is that the whole can be greater than the sum of the parts.
It's important for generations coming through to have people ahead of them that aren't saying,
It's someone who's willing to fight.
I think walking the talk rather than just saying things that you don't actually do.
I don't know what proportion of the population are cut out to be leaders, but it's probably not that many.
You see, I believe everyone can. I believe everyone can.
I think a leadership title, that doesn't mean much without the right qualities.
Traditionally, when we think of a leader, we think of like a person of power or influence. But even at uni, you see people in tutorials, they're leading conversation or ideas.
I think that someone with an eye to humanity's problems is really admirable.
Be part of the motion of humanity.
Standing up, being counted, you need brave people. And also it's exciting to be someone who tries to make a difference.
Watching people doing great things and you just feel inspired and want to talk to them and learn from them and do the same or even better things.
I think real leadership is about changing people's lives for the better.
Yes. What is leadership? So many words you might have picked up from there. Let's look at our next slide and again bring back what Peter Drucker says about leadership. And when I typed Google, when I went into Google and tried to get the definition of leadership, over a billion answers came out. One of them is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. But let's look at the next slide and see what Peter Drucker talks again about leadership. There are two things he throws out there. One is, like I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. It's really about results and not just attributes. Another one he also said was the only definition of a leader is someone who has followers. So one of the signs that you're leading is if people are willing to actually follow you, not just because you have a title or you have a position, but they actually genuinely want to follow you. Let's look at the next slide. This is a very interesting speech that was given at TED about creating a movement, and what Peter Drucker talked about followership links very well with this, because sometimes it's not about just the leader, him or herself. It's also about the first follower. Let's look at the next slide and let me use this to introduce the concept of followership. If we play this video about leaders need first followers, and sometimes you don't always have to be that leader in front. You might be following, but at the same time leading the pack as well. Let's take a look at this this very interesting video about movements.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED, we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out. They won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that, TED. Thanks.
All right. Another very interesting lesson there. And here, what I always pick from this video is, you know, when you start a journey as a leader, I think it's very important to get the first followers. I think it's very important to get the first followers in. And that in itself creates a very interesting momentum that then brings other people. But most especially, it's important to create an environment where everybody as well can lead, where everyone can lead and take things forward. What makes a good leader or a great leader is to find the balance really between business foresight, performance, and character. Leaders normally have vision, courage, integrity, humility, and focus, along with the ability to plan strategically and to catalyze cooperation amongst their teams. This is something that is really, really very important. And when we also look at other speeches by, like for example, Miss Rosalind, when she talks about what really makes great leaders, and if we look at the next slide, it's a combination of different things that can actually prepare you in becoming a leader. It could be the time spent with who, with when. So you need to actually pick, the right set of people around you. You need to have, a diverse network. You need to be daring. Daring in the sense that you need to be able to leave your own comfort zone. And I think it's a constant act of preparation, preparing yourself and developing yourself over time. When I reflect on where I am from a leadership standpoint and my capability to lead, I think it's a summation of everything I've been through, over the last 20 years, as I basically practice my own leadership, succeed in some areas, and of course fail in some areas. So we've really been able to look at the why of leadership. We've also been able to talk a little bit about what leadership really is. Let's move now on to, very quickly as we go through time, let's look at leading and managing as well. Are they things that are done separately, independently, or also together? And why is it important? And let me start. If we move to the next slide, let me start with a story of a personal experience encounter I had way back in 2003. Here I was traveling with one of my bosses who used to be the vice president for Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa in the company I work for, and he was riding with me on the streets of Lagos. And he looked at me and he said something. He said, "You know what? There are three types of people in business. There are three types of leaders. There's one kind of person who is very good on business results, can deliver the numbers, can deliver the results, can deliver the sales. All right. There's a second person. The second person, who is not like the first person. The first person is great with business results, but weak with people. The second person is not that really good, not that fantastic, with business results, but great with people, very good with people. People want to work with him. While the third person is, great on the business results and also great with people. And he looked at me and he said, which of these people do you want to become? Do you want to become the number one guy, the number two guy, or the number three guy? And I think leadership is a very good blend of delivering the results through the people. And this is something that as entrepreneurs, we have to constantly continue to develop. How do we deliver the business results through the people? And this is where juggling management and leadership comes in, where you have, on the management side, counting the value, and on the leadership side, creating the value, where you have on the management side, the circle of power, because, you have the job title as managing director, you have the job title as founder, versus the leadership side, where it's more about the circle of influence, where it's irrespective of your position, you can deliver influence. Management is about managing the work, and leadership is about managing the people. Management is about dealing with complexity, and leadership is about dealing with uncertainty. Remember our Everest video. Management, you might have heard this, doing things right, the process. We have to do it right. And leadership is really about doing the right things. Management is about maintaining. Leadership is about developing. All right. Let's take it a little bit further. And what is critical and what is important? And remember, category 3 guy. He wants to deliver results, great results through people, and he's able to balance. He's able to know when to manage and when to lead. When to be internally focused, when to be externally focused, when to plan and when to innovate, when to solve the problem, to create a vision. As leaders, one of the things I want to encourage us to do is to understand when to manage and also when to lead. And combining these two is something that can really unlock power and results. All right. Let's go further in the next slide, and let's sum everything up about leadership. Let's land what we are talking about here. Leadership really is equal to results and people. If everything you hear from me today, if there's anything you're gonna take away from it, it's really about results, and it's also about people. This is what you really want to achieve. And the big question you might be having on your mind now is, how do I do this? How do I deliver results and at the same time through people? How do I do both? Let me give you a very interesting model that will enable you to do this. And this is the 5E leadership model that has been developed and used by P&G for decades. And it's something I have personally practiced, over the last 20 years. And it's a combination of 5 things. We call it the 5 E's. It's about envisioning, where we look at thought. It's about engaging and energizing the people. And it's also about enabling and executing, these 5 E's: envisioning, engaging, energizing, enabling, and executing. And if you look at the envisioning aspect, you're really dealing with thoughts. So leadership in itself starts with you, and it starts with your thoughts. What does the future look like? And I'll talk about each of them one by one. All right. And the engaging part and the energizing part, which is the middle circle, talks about feelings. How do people feel about this? This place we're going to, this place you're taking them to, how do they feel about it? All right. And then the third circle, which talks about enabling and execution, is about actions. What are we doing to basically get to where we want to get to? And I'm now like rounding up this presentation. When you combine these 5 elements, when you combine thoughts, feelings, and actions, you're really able to get the results that you are looking for. All right. Let's go into each of them now, one by one. All right. Envisioning. Envisioning is about creating a future. It's about painting this picture of a possible tomorrow, and that is very clear to yourself and also clear to others. All right. And let's look at the second one, engaging. It's about building relationships. It's about collaboration. It's about the team. It's about the people. How do you engage with them to then communicate this vision? And the third one is energizing. The ability to inspire, the ability to, excite people about a common objective. That, is about taking the way you feel about that vision and implanting it into others. All right. And then enabling is saying, okay, let's not just get excited. Let's get ourselves ready. Let's get ourselves capable. Let's pull together the resources and take out the barrier that may stop us from getting to wherever we want to get to. All right. And then the fifth one, which is, executing, is that, wow, we have work to do. Let's go on. We are engaged. We understand clearly where we want to go. We are energized. We have what it takes for us to get there. Let's now execute. Let's get it done, and let's deliver the results. All right, And if we go to the next slide, and again, these 5 E's combined allows you to practice your leadership, to deliver your leadership in a very, very interesting way. And the starting point, I would say, is really by envisioning. Like whether it's a project, whether it's an initiative, whether it's your enterprise, it's very important, people can see what you're about to do or what we are trying to do clearly. Clarity is very important. Developing a picture and some kind of strategy in terms of how we are going to get there. All right. And let's look at engaging. Like I said, building strong working relationships that create trust. This is really, again, the people side. You've seen the vision. You've seen the future. You've seen how you want tomorrow to look like. There probably is a strategy. You need to engage. You need to create the relationships. You need to build trust. You need to bring people on board. And as you bring them on board, next slide, you need to energize them. All right. you need to energize them. You know, you need, whether by them learning, adapting, you need to, you know, bring in that personal touch to ensure people not only understand where you want to go, but also embrace that destination. You need to treat people the way you want to be treated as well. All right. And then the fourth piece, which a lot of times is missing, is, you know, how do you deliver the capability? How do you ensure your followers have the capability to go with you to where you want them to go, to implement that project you want them to implement? You know, it could be either, do they have the right information? Do they have the right resources? Do they have the right tools? You know, how do you enable your followers to basically, you know, embark with you on that journey, or deliver that result that you. And last, do we have the plans? Is it broken down into details? You know, how are we reviewing the progress? Are there barriers that we need to take down? You know, it's really, you know, not just daydreaming and building castles in the air. It's really about execution. You know, how do we execute with excellence? We know exactly where we want to go. We have the strategy, but have we broken it down into actionable plans? Does each person know exactly what he or she needs to do? And how do we allocate the resources as we even execute, as we move forward towards it? So by combining, you know, by combining these 5 E's, being able to envision, being able to engage, you know, being able to energize, being able to enable, and being able to execute, we can really bring our leadership to life. And I want to leave you with these questions. You know, do you understand your current reality? Are you clear about what's working and what's not working? Do you understand the impact of your leadership? Are you clear around what you must continue to do and what you must change? How clear is your vision to you and to everyone that is around you? Are people with you, you know, with that vision, or are you leading yourself alone? You know, does your team, your organization, you know, have what it takes to deliver on those goals and those results that you are looking forward to achieving? You know, so my last word to you as we basically wrap up this session is, you might look at yourself and you might look at some of the things we've talked about today, and you might find out that, wow, you might be a long way from, you know, where you want your leadership to be. But one thing I would say, and I leave you with this quote, is, you know, leadership is like an art. It needs to be practiced every day and in every situation. So I would want to encourage you practice the 5 E's. To even when it comes, whether it's a small project, whether it's an initiative, ask yourself, you know, what do we really want to achieve? What's the end goal? You know, what's the destination? How am I engaging? How am I engaging with the people around about that end goal? Am I getting them energized? Am I getting them energized about it? Am I enabling them with the tools, with information, with whatever they need to get it done? And how are we executing? How are we executing towards that destination? All right. So leadership is an art. You need to practice it every day. And, you know, like me, which I started my leadership practice almost 20 years ago. I've come a long way, but I want to really tell you that as you practice the 5 E's, you will see the impact in your daily life as you run your businesses or whatever endeavors you are focused on right now. So I just want to say a big thank you to FMT for putting this together, to Vu and the team. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post it on the chat room. And I'll hand over back now to Vu as we, you know, talk more about leadership.
Thank you so much, Charlie. So much to think about. But before I get into my questions about this, I want people to understand a little bit of context around your background to leadership. Do you quickly want to comment about the background to experiences around the teams you've led and your journey in leadership from literally being thrown in the deep end at Procter & Gamble and given a task to turn around a business unit? Can you give that story for context for everybody?
Absolutely. This thing I'm teaching today saved my life, saved my career 20 years ago. I got out of college, I got out of university, and a week after my final exams, I started working at Procter & Gamble, and I went through training, and like a month and a half into the job, I was offered my first assignment. And my first assignment was to run a business of about 80 people. 80 people. I just finished school, guys. I just finished school. And they asked me to lead this organization that was, chunking about $20 million per annum. And I was like, God, where am I going to start from? And, I got into my first, meeting, and the guys I was leading, they were much older than me. These are people that have been working for years. Now I have to tell them what to do, and to make matters worse, the owner of that business was also a very reputable person in the country and comes from a big family. And after my first meeting with him, my boss told
we seem to have lost Charlie there. But, again, I can tell you that it is time. He went on to turn this particular business unit around. And that business unit became incredibly profitable, after kind of jumping to the deep end, trusting his gut, fulfilling the principles of working with the team, and went on to create a very successful business unit at Procter & Gamble that, again, initiated an entire business value chain that exists till this day. It continues to be there in place. And again, hopefully some of the guys in the venture founders have heard this, because I know some of the anxiety for some of the founders that, who I'm young, I've got my team might not understand, how do I handle how my team responds to my leadership style? It comes back down to really trusting the key principles that you've been made aware of today. It's really in embracing just a new kind of approach. And again, to Charles's approach, I think it's always kind of setting out to envisage your kind of style that you're gonna try and structure to lead. Bring yourself to really engage and bring yourself to energize your team in order for you to now be able to really drive this team forward towards a vision that you've ultimately set your leadership. In fact, sometimes it's about giving yourself the opportunity in which to shape the timeline and the target that you're going to be working towards, and diligently get everybody in your team around you to work towards this particular target. And part of this process, again, is making available not only resources, but also committing just principally the ability to enable the teams to really act. So, there's no point in having a ready and committed and positive team, but really they're constrained by their ability to be able to get things done, or the lack of resources that primarily they have. But the key fundamentally, when all is said and done, is the ability for everybody, including the leader, that is able to see how they're going to go about executing on the solution. So, Charles, we're still checking if we can get him back on. But in the meantime, I want to kind of get some quick reflections from the ventures that have joined us this evening, starting with the founder of Money Chaps from Botswana, a financial inclusion startup called Money Chaps. Thabiso, what was your experience with, and what are your thoughts as you kind of were listening to Charles? I know you are very much at the beginning phase of building your team, and you started kind of getting things going there. So, what was your reflections on the things with Charles?
Hi everyone. My name is Thabiso. I'm the team leader of Money Chaps. Yes, Vu, I think, for all the ventures, for us not to sit on our ideas and, do something about them, get into a competition, go through this phase of incubation. I think we stood out in some sense. We stood out, and we need to get people to follow us. And like Charles said, there's one of the things that I've realized throughout this process has been clarity. When you engage people in your team, there has to be clarity as to where you're going, what you're trying to achieve. And if yourself as a leader, you're struggling to find there are some things that there's a lot of ambiguity there. Then when you are faced with wicked problems, then it will be very hard to solve them, because you yourself, you can't lead the team. So that has been what it's basically what I've learned throughout this journey.
And we've loved watching your journey as well to date. So Charles is back. Welcome back, Charles. And Thabiso, over to you. Your opportunity to ask clarity-seeking questions, Charles, and basically getting some response from Charles. Go ahead.
Yes, first and foremost, it's quite interesting that a guy from South Africa met a guy from Nigeria, and that's true leadership. So I would just love to know like a brief, history about you and Vu.
Okay, it looks like we've lost Charles again. I would actually be interested to see what Charles has to say about that. But I think, speaking for myself, I think from the beginning, one of the things that we were very clear and where to do, the vision carrier in our business is Charles. He's really the vision carrier. He holds center for the vision for Hyper. And so all of us, really, he's our leader. So Charles is the leader in our team. Even though, not only are we business partners, but we have another partner as well. And we have a team of 20 people who work at Hyper. But all these people, all of us, Charles is our leader. But over to you, Charlie. I don't know if you got the question from Thabiso. Thabiso, you want to repeat your question again?
Can you repeat the question again?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just telling you that it's quite interesting that you, a guy from South Africa, met in a different met a guy from a different country, and they managed to form a business and got things going, and the business is now up and running. So I was just commending you guys, like that's true leadership, and I would love to know more about how all this started.
Charlie, can you got the question? I'm not sure. Guys, let me explain to you. Like anybody who's ever been to Nigeria will know this is a forever problem. In fact, please, founders and ventures, when you go to Nigeria, let's get the ease of doing business ready for in terms of data and network sorted out in Nigeria. So we seem to be having a bit of a challenge there with Charles. Becky, are we able to get Charles? Okay, are you back, Charlie?
Well, I would say that thank you so much for your comment. I mean, in terms of, I think as a leader, one of the very important things to always think about is, and I mentioned it in the presentation, your ability to see clearly what a future can become. And even as an entrepreneur, as you're trying to solve a problem that is in the market, or you're trying to capture an opportunity that is in the market, how you see that opportunity and how you visualize it internally yourself kind of almost enables you to communicate in a way that once you are in front of people that are also looking at that opportunity, the spark begins to happen. So I still remember, my first time meeting Vu in Kenya, in Nairobi, and we were talking about the entrepreneurial space, and we were talking about scaling, and it was like, dude, you're going exactly where I am going as well. You know, how can we come together, and how can we carry on with this journey together? And remember that video with the first followers. You know, it's very important, even in your early days of your firm or your venture. You know, bring in the right first followers, bring in the right partners, bringing in the right co-founders, bringing in the right investors. It's really part of the leadership work. And if that work is not very clear to you, if you can't really see and feel it, then it's going to be even difficult for others as well to see that. So I want to say that, you know, continue to get clarity in terms of what the future would look like. You know, engage with the right set of people around you, and then you know the magic really also begins to happen.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's some insightful, you know, feedback from you.
I don't know if that made sense, or would you like me to do you also have some more questions around that aspect of how this all started?
Yes, because you know, one thing that I'm also, as an entrepreneur, you should be like myself. I'm thinking that it's very good. It is very important that you're open to a lot of possibilities, like being able to meet someone, you know, in another country and being able to collaborate. Because especially when you are looking at solutions that when you are trying to come up with solutions that have to scale for them to be successful, you need to be open to engaging with other people from different countries. So
Absolutely.
That's why also yes, that's why, you know, your whole story with Vu was quite
absolutely
interesting.
This is the this aspect you just talked about right now is the engaging piece. You know, a lot of times, sometimes you might need to engage with people that are completely different from you.
Yes.
Or even by skill set or by functionality. You know, either you need to be open, like you said, you need to be open to engage. You need to create that openness between different stakeholders, because if there's no engagement, then you cannot energize them. Then you cannot show them what you are seeing. So you need to, in a way, almost be vulnerable to really open up to engage and dialogue with the early stakeholders as you progress. This is very, very important. Engaging and then leading to energizing. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, thanks for that. And then, by the way, I understood when you talked about clarity before we lost you. I was just telling Vu that I was reflecting on my journey since we started this whole program, and I was telling him that what I've learned is, as a leader, you yourself, you need to have clarity on what you're trying to achieve, so that when you now assemble a team, you know, everything goes smoothly, instead of just not just calling people to come and help you, and then there's nothing that you can give them to do. So, yeah, clarity is very important.
I have 3 words for you, and Vu hears me say this a lot. If there's no clarity, there will be confusion. If there's confusion, there will be crisis. So clarity is very important. Clarity is very important. And the clearer you are,
I'll tell you, this brother has really accelerated his growth tremendously, and the team, and you know how Abiola is so tough. They are so in love with this guy. He's such a professional. He's such a diligent, dedicated founder. He's so meticulous and so driven. And he's building his business, and he's building his company. And you know, he's doing it. So we're very proud of Utabiso. Thanks so much for that, Tabs. I'm just surprised that you wanted to know more about Hyper. Hyper is fine. I thought you might have some questions about money chats and some of the dynamics you're working on, but it's okay. All right. We're gonna give the next opportunity to another one of our amazing ventures. This time we are traveling fast forward across all the way to Dar es Salaam, where we are joined by Donald Kweku from for Pema Agri, and Donald will join us shortly to ask his question and to interact and join and share his questions with Charles. But Charlie, before you get your network cut off, we were busy talking about your journey. So just before Donald comes in, just quickly in a snippet, how did that journey with Procter & Gamble end? And how what was your last assignment in terms of your last corporate as you've joined you to connect the line before you wrapped up?
So after my boss told me I had 3 months to break even, I had to make a choice. And choice was really to tell myself, let me embrace this challenge. Let me really visualize what success really is. Most especially, let me engage with the team. Let's be very clear around the action plans and let's execute. And that allowed me to develop my early leadership. We didn't break even in 3 months. We actually made profit. And in itself, that then set me up to move on to other assignments within the company. 6 months later, I became customer marketing manager for West Africa. And I was now leading multiple brands across multiple countries. It was a much bigger responsibility. And my last assignments in P&G, the company said, you know what? It seems we're always throwing you into assignments that are complex and uncertain because you have a way of, going through the mist and taking us to the company to rural. And it was in itself a very interesting journey because navigating through uncertainty and then building a business that went on to create jobs and to deliver all kinds of revenue was very, very exciting. And people took notice of that, and that then led me to move into another company called DuPont, where I was asked to set up that more.
Yeah. We seem to, again, Dirkie, just maybe put in the interlude video. Hopefully Charles will get back with the network as we bring Donald on. Brilliant. Hopefully we're back. Okay, you ready?
Hey, I'm ready.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm
so
good.
While Charles sorts himself out with his network, what was your general reflection? I mean, you're a leader in your team. You're the chief operations officer at Pema Agri. What was the valuable kind of insights that you took away from what Charles has said?
Well, just first the introduction. My name is Donald. I'm from Pema Agri. We're an agri-tech. I think one of the things that got me really interested in the leadership today was regarding what if people who are not exactly people-centric people, individuals, how would they start? Like, is it something you're born with in terms of it's something that I thought before that leadership skills are actually are you born with, but according to Charles here, it's something that you practice every day, something you grow, you improve. So actually, one of my main questions were, as an individual trying to start a company, but not exactly a people's person, what advice would we get from Charles here? Hi, Charles.
Hey, hi. Hey, I don't know.
My name is Donald.
Yes, Donald.
I'm from Pema Agri.
Beautiful.
And I was actually asking Vu here, and I'm glad you're back, is that before I used to think leadership skills are things you're born with. There's always people who have the skills and people who don't. Now, considering myself, I'm not exactly a people's person. And one of the things that you said was that leadership is something that you practice and you grow every day. So I just wanted some advice from you from a perspective of a person who has not had the people-centric skills in actually starting a business or having a startup. What advice do you have for people such as those?
Let me shock you. I am also not a people guy. People will say it's a lie. but I would say I started as a very, very shy introvert. That was how I started. I really I never don't put me in front of people, don't put me in center stage. I was very shy. I'm not very outspoken, even till today. Sometimes I tend to bottle some of my views. But I would say that sometimes it is the situation that puts you, that forces you to rise up. And as a leader, especially if you've started a company, the situation will move you to lead because you have to. You don't necessarily have a choice. And I want to say that the truth about it is that, yes, some people might be born with that skill set. Some people might be born as leaders. But I've seen, and there are very few, they're not a lot of people. Many of the people that are leading today actually learned how to lead. And it came as a result of daily practice. And there's also the aspect of if you feel you're not the best on the people side, you can always bring in somebody that can also handle the people side. So, for example, we also one of our ventures that we work with called FarmFort. The founders are very, very big. They're business people. They like to do business, and sometimes they don't want to get into the hard work of, how do we really manage the organization? How do we get into? So I kind of sometimes tend to help them cover that gap. But now we've brought in someone who is our head of people. So you might start looking at, since this might be an area that I haven't fully developed yet around building and working with people, maybe this is a requirement my next co-founder should have. Maybe the co-founder I am bringing on board should really be able to demonstrate the ability to really connect and lead people. And this is in itself, this particular gesture is also an attribute of good leaders. They know where they are weak. They recognize that weakness, and they can bring people on board to help them walk that walk where they feel they cannot walk. So 2 things I would say to you. One is, don't feel you're not a born leader. You will evolve over time, like you will, all right? As you continue to practice these 5 E's that I mentioned to you. Because the truth about it is that just by being a founder in itself takes guts. To tell yourself, I have this idea, I have this product, and I'm going to conquer the world, my friend, that's leadership. That takes a lot of guts. So you're already on your path. You're already on your way. Now there might be, I still have some areas to improve. Look at your co-founder. Look at, figure out who can cover this gap for me while I build myself, along the way. But trust me, as you practice, you're going to just see yourself getting better and better and better. So don't give up, Donald. Don't give up. You're already on your way. You're already on your way.
Well, Donald. Thank you so much, Donald. And again, we're gonna bring in our next founder, Thabisi, again, all the way back to Gaborone in Botswana. Thabisi from Digital Diamond is gonna be coming in on this one. Thabisi, I think, Dirkie, you've got the wrong T's yet. Thabisi is on there. And again, remember to kind of do the transition as well as we move forward. Tabi?
Hey, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on. Hi, Charles. Thabisi from Digital Diamond. We're basically like a digital instant identity application. I'm sure you know. Mikap, I really loved what you were talking about earlier. It's just my perspective on leadership is probably aligns with yours as well. Was more that everyone is a leader. Yep. The same way an axe can cut a paper, but an axe can cut a tree, but can't cut paper, and a scissors can cut paper, but can't cut a tree. So like the foundation base and going forward, I do know the atypical leader is the one that we are prescribed to, the one that's charismatic, the one that's outgoing, flamboyant, and yet to me, the people who drive my team are the silent ones, the ones in the background, the ones who are basically, like, for example, the people behind this video, the ones who are setting this up for us in the back. So I guess we tend to a lot of my team members tend to let me perceive leadership in a different perspective and a different lens. And I love the fact that you guys had different approaches. And I want to know what your definition of leadership was, because we did share a video where people were saying a few people are leaders, and others said a lot of people are. I just want to know your definition of a leader, like in like a one line or something.
I would say a leader is the person that can get results through people. Because and this resonates very well with what you're saying in terms of everyone can be a leader. So everybody needs to deliver results. So if everybody needs to deliver results in their own capacity, in their own situation, they need to lead. Sometimes your finance manager might need to lead you to, have that meeting so that you guys can discuss the numbers and she can pull out the reports. So everybody is a leader. Everybody can lead, because everybody needs to deliver results. So the ability to deliver results through people, for me, is I classify that as leadership. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then my second follow-up question to that was, getting results from people can sometimes be difficult. We can have the right plans, we can have the right processes. We can cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and still sometimes the output or the outcome isn't exactly what we intended. I guess that's life, but are there ways or suggestions that you can do to mitigate such outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a continuous journey to optimize productivity from your team. I would say that some of the things that have helped me in the past, and I can make reference to some of them. The first one is around expectations setting. People need to be clear about what they are expected to do and what the result you are looking for really is. So there are some, in some of my hiring, whether for Hyber or most especially for some of our ventures, if I'm hiring in some people, I ask them when I'm, if the person is a consultant, for example, I ask them, can you share with me the work plan in terms of what we want to achieve, and use that as a process of aligning expectations. We want to achieve B, all right? How will we get to B? Are we both on the same page about what B really, really means? So again, this brings us back to that place of clarity. The more people are clear about the output, the more people are clear about the results, and the more we align on that clarity, that for me is the foundation for everything. Because they could then move into a set of activities, but come at another completely different outcome, which you then say, this is not what I want. So I think that to get the results, the starting point really is be very clear about the expectations and be aligned with that third party, with that team member, what the expectation means to him and what the expectation means to you. I think another thing that is also very important is, what's in it for me? Why should people do what you want them to do? A lot of times we might dive very quickly into the what and how, but the core essence of that result is not, we're not having a grip on it. So people need to understand the why. They need to understand the why, because this is the energizing part. When they understand the why, they energize, and the why can be positive and it can be negative, but it needs to motivate them. So getting clear about what needs to be done, and the team member understanding why he or she needs to do it is very, very much important. The third piece, which I would also leave you with, is, so we know where we are going to get to. How really are we going to get there? What are the steps that we really need to take? And with some of my teammates, one of the things we built in Hyber, and it's always like, what's the checklist? What was the to-do to get from point A to point B? And, are we all clear about that to-do? Because once we have that to-do in front of us, we can review our progress. We can measure our progress. And what you can measure, you can manage. So this is where you combine leadership and management. Because a lot of times we fail as leaders because we're not able to do the management properly. We're not all perfect, but once we have our eyes on around these things, People are clear around expectations. People understand the why, and then people know exactly the steps that they need to take to get to that destination, and we can together review the process and the progress going forward. So this for me is what I have used to kind of like get some of my things going as I work with diverse teams internally and externally. I hope it helps.
Yeah, no, it does. Do you have any books that you recommend, like some people who are like avid readers or any of the listeners online?
Books on leadership.
We should do that. I think let's do this. We'll get Omer to get Charles's recommendation of 5 books on leadership.
Okay.
And we'll share that in the WhatsApp group, and we'll share that again. I think that'd be interesting. I've never actually asked you this question, so I'd have to know as well. So thank you so much. With that, thanks to all our ventures. You guys have been incredibly amazing. And again, continue to work hard. Charles is going to come back for Bootcamp 2, where he's going to be sharing some of his experiences in the other stuff that Charles has done, which is building partnerships between ventures, innovation, as well as partnering with corporate. So look out for Charles for the ventures later on. So Charlie, with that said, I know it's work. It's gone so quickly, the 90 minutes. So I want to really thank you, my friend, for being part of it. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, we've had so many people join. We haven't been able to take all the comments from the Facebook and the YouTube. But do tune in again next week. So thank you so much, Charles. Do tune in next week, Thursday, as we host yet another masterclass for the SADC Innovation and Investment Challenge. This time we have our good friend, Charles, mine and Charles' good friend, Lebo Olaudi, the country director for South Africa at Catalyst and Catalyst Fund. And again, interestingly, Charles, Lebo is not going to be talking about her work as a venture capitalist. So we'll be talking about her original work as a change maker and a growth hacker at Fundamo, and the experiences she had when she was consulting as in the fintech space. So look out for that session next Thursday, the same time, same place. Tune in on YouTube and Facebook as we do these sessions live. So thank you to the team from DPK. Thank you for everybody for having joined us. And again, do tune in again, and happy Global Entrepreneurship Month. Happy Global Women's Entrepreneurship Day for the 19th of November. Go check out the Hyper Twitter and Facebook accounts for some of the exciting things that we've put out related to what we are doing this Entrepreneurship Month. And with that said, thank you very much, everybody, and good night.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.